Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel once again, and this is going to be another video game review. So, it's been a couple years, but let's see what everyone's favorite Lombax and everyone's favorite small robots are up to, especially now that our small robot friend is a secret agent. But what happens when they go to face a bigger robot who wants to turn the entire world into robots? Let's find out. I'm of course talking about Ratchet and Clank 3 Up Your Arsenal, or um or I think it's just called Ratchet and Clank 3 in different regions. So, of course, because of the innuendous nature of the Ratchet and Clank video game titles, a lot of them had different names in different regions. So I think just uh, um, I think just Ratchet and Clank 3 was for the other regions. Meanwhile, regions such as Australia and the good old US of A, hey, stuck with the Up Your Arsenal tagline. The same thing happened with Going Commando. That was renamed Locked and Loaded in other regions. They also did it with Deadlocked. They renamed that to Gladiator in some reasons, or regions, I should say, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because deadlock's not really a dirty innuendous phrase, at least not that I can think of. But they felt the need to rename it. But nevertheless, as always, I'm not professional video game reviewer or analyst or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I had a pretty fun time with this game. All things considered, it was good to get back into the groove of things, and I'm not talking the Groovatron. It was nice to get back into the groove of things with Ratchet and Clank and with the series here, especially being away from it for a couple years for so long. So glad to be back, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. But if you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and disliked about the game, as well as giving a brief plot summary. So, the plot here is put in a concise order, so we'll mostly be going based off the wiki here, only because it lays it out in the most concise order as it can. And but things do kind of jump kind of all over the place. It's not in like a weird chaotic sort of way, but mainly because similar to other Ratchet and Clank games, when main story missions open up, other stuff opens up as well. So you can kind of pick and choose where you want to go and stuff like that. Now, this game, compared to the other games, seems a bit more linear. At least to me, it seemed a little bit more linear with that kind of stuff. But otherwise, yeah. So let's get right into the plot here. Oh, uh, Ratchet hit Clank, and for starter, hers Clank now has his own TV show, as I alluded to in my little opening spiel there, called Secret Agent Clank, which is pretty much kind of like kind of like a parody of like the spy movies and stuff like that, especially like James Bond and stuff like that. And Clank even got himself a nice little suit and like a bow tie, which was pretty cute and pretty cool. But Clank has a show, Secret Agent Clank, and it goes about as you expect, with like the spy genre and everything. Ratchet is the chauffeur on the show, and he's not too pleased about it, but that's been getting a lot of traction. So, Ratchet, Clank are kind of just hanging out, but they do receive word that Veldin, aka Ratchet's home planet, Ratchet and Clank are in the Bogon Galaxy. It's worth mentioning. Ratchet and Clank get word that Veldin is under attack, by an army of Tyrannoids. So they essentially head back to the Solana Galaxy, aka where Gadgetron is, and they're going to help out the Galactic Rangers. Now, unlike the reboot slash like movie tie-in, and the Galactic Rangers this time around are just a group of robots essentially. Meanwhile, in the newer movie, in like the movie and the PS4 game, there are like actual different heroes and stuff. Among them being Captain Quark, or which we will get to him in this game. But here, the Galactic Ranger just has kind of a small army of robots, and they're kind of ragtag in a way. But Ratchet, it kind of joins up with that and takes out the Tyrannoids. It's it's and they learn that the villain that they're going after, the one who sent the Tyrannoids, it's it is known as Doctor Nefarious, and and they're told that by the Galactic President, who very much with his voice you can tell is doing a Bill Clinton impression, and that was around that time. But it's the robot that sent, or the villain that sent the villainous robots, if you will, that sent the Tyrannoids is known as Doctor Nefarious, and excuse me, and I forget if it was in this cutscene or a little later on, but Dr. Nefarious pretty much lays out his plan and to turn all organic life, if that being creatures like Ratchet and other humanoid characters like Quark, into robots. So he wants to turn every single one, every single person into robots. First of all, right off the bat, let's get this out of the way. Dr. Nefarious is probably considered to be one of, if not the best Ratchet and Clank villains. But also, the funniest part about this is Lawrence hence is while Dr. Nefarious is speaking, Lawrence is doing sign language, or kind of the equivalent of sign, or kind of something akin to sign language, the whole time. Hopefully he's not just faking it like a couple people have done. I've seen a couple news stories about that where it's like it's crazy when it happens once. It's even crazier when it happens more than once. But nevertheless, as you can say a lot about Dr. Nefarious, but you can't say he's not inclusive. But nevertheless, Dr. Nefarious is now a threat. He's the main villain, so they have to track down someone who has beaten him. The only person, in fact, who has beaten Dr. Nefarious, that being Captain Quark. But Captain Quark is off missing. They can't find him, but they do get an infobot showing behind the hero, where the person makes a joke that that whoever this mysterious figure walking around, which is revealed to be Quark, whoever it was, they were holding their well, he calls it a banana, but he's cut off by the announcer, or like the I'll get more into it when I go into likes and dislikes, but I swear the humor in this game. But so Ratchet and Clank track him down on planet Florana. Sure enough, it is Captain Quark. He's hanging out with Scrunch the monkey. But there's a problem. Quark has become feral. There's no telling how long he had been there, how long he had been in hiding since the Protopet incident. So Captain Quark has gone feral and has essentially lost his memory. So he's kind of gone partial Wolverine, but at least in a way. Hey, but they bring Quark to the Starship Phoenix, which is kind of the base of the Galactic Rangers, which includes the Captain Sasha, and Quark eventually does regain his memory and his consciousness through Ratchet and Clank playing one of the holovids that he's collected. So the holovids is something that you'll collect in the game, and it's something that you will get every few missions or so. Oh, pretty much like an interactive movie video, interactive like comic book, but it's in video game formats at which kind of borders the line of like tie-in video games and stuff like that. And I don't know if that was on purposely or not, but yeah, so sure enough, Ratchet plays the hollow film, and Quark gains his memory and gains his consciousness. But from there, her Quark kind of takes over the squad that's going after Dr. Nefarious and names them the Q4, or or so it consists of Ratchet, Clank, Sasha, other members of the Galactic Rangers, Al, and Skid McMarks, and Helga as well. So, oh, uh, so, Ratchet, Clank, and Skid are sent to infiltrate Planet Aquados, that being Nefarious's base on Planet Aquados. And from there, her Clank match is to find a map of Tyrannosis, which is the Tyrannoid homeworld. Ratchet, and Clank are gonna head there, but first they have to stop the Tyrannoid Queen. In I believe this is where the aforementioned Doctor Nefarious video plays. Oh, uh, but then he also mocks the Q Force. So somehow Nefarious knew about the Q Force, unless he got word of them infiltrating his base. But nevertheless, Doctor Nefarious is tracked by Big Al, who is kind of like the technical expert of the team, which makes sense because he works with robotics and stuff like that. Uh, he tracks Nefarious to a munitions factory on the planet Dax. There, Ratchet and Clank head, and they learn about Nefarious's they learn how Nefarious is going to carry out his plan, and that being using the Bio-Obliterator, which he will use to pretty much destroy the world and everything after he's turned them all into robots. But they cannot. But they know what it is, but they can't find any info on it. They are going to see if they can get information from the pop star, the robotic pop star Courtney Gears. Courtney Gears. Pretty obvious who she's parodying. It was around that time. Admittedly, it doesn't. Considering what we know now about a lot of the stuff Britney Spears went through, it feels kind of weird. But nevertheless, Ratchet and Clank are going to see if they can get some info from Courtney Gears, and Ratchet is very much a fan of Courtney, even despite Courtney having a song literally talking about exterminating organic life. Yikes! Clank, and, but Hank manages to get with Courtney Gears and talk to her after they win a chance to talk to her on Annihilation Nation, which is pretty much like this game's version of the arena battles from the previous game. And Gears knocks out Clank, and Clank is kidnapped to Dr. Nefarious, and brought to Dr. Nefarious, I should say, who Dr. Nefarious thinks that Clank is, in fact, Secret Agent Clank. So he thinks that Secret Agent Clank, is indeed a real person. So he's not able to separate the actual show from from the actual actor, which admittedly the commentary is very much there, uh, but I'm not going to explore it, at least not here. But sure enough, Clank tries to say that he is not, in fact, actual Secret Agent Clank, and he's just a person he plays on television. But Nefarious is having none of it. But then Nefarious tries to offer Clank the chance to join him. Clank obviously says no. Dr. Nefarious it says in the wiki, which I do have to kind of refute this. It says, in response, Nefarious creates an evil double named Clunk, and has him take Clank's place. The later part of that is true, but the thing is, Clunk was already ready to go. I'm guessing Dr. Nefarious just had this as a backup plan, just on the off chance that Clank says no. Nevertheless, as Clunk is instead sent to back to Ratchet, it so Ratchet is kind of just waiting the whole time while Clank talks with Courtney Gears, unaware of the switcheroo that has taken place. Is so Clunk now accompanies Ratchet. It it and Ratchet, Clunk, and Skid. It go to who the Obani Moon's who investigate stuff going down there, but in the process, Courtney Gears abducts Skidman Marks and turns him into a robot. And eventually, Ratchet ends up fighting Courtney Gears. It's probably one of my favorite boss battles um in the game, and I'll go into it more when I talk about the likes and dislikes. But it is a pretty fun boss battle. It's not super hard, but it is a pretty fun boss battle. Well, but nevertheless, as Ratchet defeats Courtney Gears, her skid back to the Starship Phoenix, even though he is in robot form. So he just goes behind the bars that Captain Quark was behind earlier in Ratchet and Clank's like quarters that they have on board Starship Phoenix. Bars that Skid could definitely fit through. Admittedly, bars that Captain Quark could probably fit through who as well, but Skid can definitely fit through who but he doesn't, he just kind of stays there the whole time. But Sasha is able to locate Nefarious's ship, aka the Leviathan, and I forgot who was the first to point it out, but I think it was Remy Raccoon slash as formerly known as Val4XD, who pointed out how much Ratchet and Clank loved the word Leviathan for whatever reason. But it's Ratchet. It but Ratchet and Quark are sent to capture Doctor Nefarious. Is but Nefarious has led them into a trap. Self-destructs Leviathan and pretty much skedaddles out of there. Quark goes down with the ship. So we think, Hank saying that there was something important that he needs to grab. So we think Quark died, and it does lead to one of the funniest slash most awkward moments where they're having like a mini memorial and Ratchet he struggles to find positive words to say about Quark after he died. And the president does chime in as well, giving some words on Quark, and Clank almost says, "What a load of BS," but like Ratchet cuts him off partway through. Who admittedly that was pretty funny, um, but Ratchet then and goes to Metropolis. Yes, same Metropolis from the first game. In order to help out the Rangers, and we do also go to Blackwater City as well within the game. So Ratchet goes to Metropolis. Is to excuse me, I forgot my train of thought was. But Ratchet goes to Metropolis is to fight off the Tyrannoid invasion alongside the Rangers. But partway through, Nefarious uses the Biobliterator to turn all the Tyrannoids into robots. So now the Tyrannoids are robot. And then the deception is revealed, and Clunk is revealed to not be Clank, and Ratchet fights him off. Ratchet and Clank are reunited, and they go to stop Nefarious. And when they try to find, as they're searching the remains of the Leviathan, and is found out that Quark faked his death. At, and went into hiding. There's a secret message on board the Phoenix, and I mentioned you play the Holobit comics up to this point. You get him every few missions, and they detail the history of Captain Quark and Doctor Nefarious. How Nefarious was human at one point, or at least close to human, but then was turned into a robot after dying at the hands of Captain Quark. But then the last Holobit comic you get is a lost episode that Weird Al nor his friends on pretty much Discord, even though Discord I don't think was invented yet in 2004, but they find um, a secret Holobit comic, and that is how they find it. It's kind of how they find out that Quark faked his death, but but through the Hobbit comics, it's also revealed. It also does reveal Doctor Nefarious's plan, and because he based it off of the Hobbit comics, which is weird because it also kind of explains their history. But sure enough, they go to Captain Quark's base. Quark reveals that he is kind of doesn't want to fight on in the battle against the fairy. He's saying that when he was on board the Leviathan, and he realizes he could have died. That's exactly how he says it too, which is actually pretty funny. But a lot of funny moments in this game. But and sure enough, Ratchet and Clank leave him, and they go to battle Doctor Nefarious. But sure enough, the Tyrannoids, now the robotic Tyrannoids, and the rest of Doctor Nefarious's forces invade the Starship Phoenix and are battling the crew and everything. So Ratchet and Clank assist them, and they get the Bio-Obliterator. They destroy the Bio-Obliterator. But Sasha reveals that there was a second Bio-Obliterator. It's pretty much the second Death Star, but there's a second Bio-Obliterator. Or her her and it turns into a giant robot. This was after uh after Ratchet and Clank go to confront Doctor Nefarious. So they go confront him. They battle Doctor Nefarious. The second Bio-Obliterator turns out to be a giant robot. Maybe the Sith should have did that, and maybe they would have beaten the Jedi in when they had the second Death Star. But sure enough, Quark comes back in and helps Ratchet and Clank destroy the Bio-Obliterator. uh, Dr. Nefarious and Lawrence the try to escape the exploding Bio-Obliterator by activating the teleporter. Nefarious didn't specify a location, so they're just spat out into the middle of a rock. And Lawrence kind of throws that up in Nefarious' face, like, why didn't we teleport somewhere else? And Lawrence said he didn't specify a location. To be fair, they didn't get the countdown didn't give them enough time to specify a location, because the countdown was 60 seconds. Then and all of a sudden time's up, and Nefarious like, what? That wasn't even close to 60 seconds. I'm telling you, probably a lot of the funniest moments in like Ratchet and Clank history, when they do like the compilations of like funniest Ratchet and Clank moments, best out of context Ratchet and Clank moments, most of them come from this game. But that's what I'm realizing. But sure enough, Nefarious is defeated. Sasha and Ratchet are kind of a thing. They did have a kiss earlier in the game, but now they share another one as the game. Excuse me. As the game ends off with a private screening with everyone there, including the Galactic Rangers, the Q Force, and several other like background characters to the series, as they watch the latest episode of Secret Agent Clank. It is worth mentioning there is also a Secret Agent Clank level, like a dedicated Secret Agent Clank level in the game, where you act out one of these scenes, and it was after that was actually how Clank got abducted. Was Clank promised Courtney Gears a spot on Secret Agent Clank. She ended up not getting it though. She just kind of ended up being there for the shooting, but the shooting of the episode. I should clarify. She was there for like the filming of the episode, but she didn't actually appear on camera. Maybe that's why Clank got kidnapped, because he didn't hold up his end of the deal. Like Courtney Gears wasn't actually in the episode, but nevertheless, that is how the game ends. So, I know that was quite a bit, but still, really, really fun game, and like I said, that's kind of like the condensed, concise version of events. And but in terms of what I liked and disliked, right off the bat, I do have to start off with kind of a gray area. The reason this is a gray area is because it's something that annoyed me, but it's the fault of the PS3 port. Yes, I didn't play this on original hardware. Played it via the PS3 emulator, the PS3 emulated version of this game, part of the collection, even though I bought them all individually. It is worth pointing out, or did I buy the collection? Did I buy them individually, or did I buy the collection? I can look it up later. But it's worth mentioning the sound effects of the ship like flying to and from uh different points is off. So like normally it has the sounds of the ship like randomly flying and then the sound of the ship landing. And a lot of times when they would load, the sound of the ship landing would be partway through the ship flying and everything. And then the sound effect for the ship flying would be for the ship landing, like whenever Ratchet and Clank would be in the ship. It got really, really annoying. But uh, but that's kind of more an issue, like I said, with the port, not really with the game. So I'm not including it here, just for the sake of fairness and everything, because that wouldn't really be fair. As for what I liked and disliked about the game, the thing, they kept everything pretty much the same in terms of like combat and everything, which I am not mad at. Had like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Ratchet keeps a lot of his core mechanics and everything. And the weapons this time, of course, he has his weaponry this time around. The weaponry, admittedly, yeah, another kind of gray area, kind of a mixed bag. I found myself, um, not what's the best way to put this? Not enjoying a whole lot of the weapons, and there were quite a few that I enjoyed. There is the sniper weapon this time around, and similar to what we did for the other games, yes, there will be a tier list as well for the weapons and gadgets. His is but of course, similar to what the second game did, if you have a save file for the first and second game, you get weapons from the first and second game, and that includes the bouncer, which, let me tell you, once you get the bouncer in this game, the rest of this game is pretty much trivial, because the bouncer, it was great in 2, somehow gets even better in 3. I was like mowing down hordes of enemies in the game once I got the bouncer. Like once I got my hands on the bouncer, it was pretty much over. I even used it to wipe out a lot of Annihilation Nation, which the Annihilation Nation challenge and everything, kind of similar to the to again what was in the second game. Uh, but this time it not only had like arena battles where you battled several enemies, it also had like several obstacle courses and everything. The armor returns from the second game, which is really nice. The only armor I didn't get was the final armor, which I believe is the Infernox armor, but otherwise, the armor is very present in the game, uh and thankfully he like the armor seems kind of expensive, but once you do like the challenges in like Annihilation Nation and the Galactic Rangers missions, um you get a lot of bolts from those, so you definitely will have enough for not only the weapons but for the armor as well. If I saved and not bought some of the weapons, which I really wish I didn't, and I probably could have gotten the Infernox armor, honestly. But otherwise, the humor in this game is pretty funny as well, and we gotta clap it up for Doctor Nefarious. Like Doctor Nefarious and Lawrence pretty much steal the show in any scene they're in, and there's a reason why Doctor Nefarious is considered one of the best villains and one of the few villains that has returned time and time again throughout the series. He's so hammy, he's so energetic, he's really funny. There's a lot of really funny moments with him, including when he tries to activate the bio obliterator, but then he actually plays his when then he accidentally plays his audition tape for Galactic Idol, which is crazy that American Idol came back and then morphed into Galactic Idol in the future when it comes to this series. But Nefarious was hilarious. Lawrence even more so. Just all the antics they got up to in this game. Quark kind of completed his transformation to being somewhat selfish and malicious in the other games to being more of like a lovable goofball kind of bonehead in this game, which is pretty much the personality he would carry for the rest of the series. But admittedly it was kind of funny in bursts when it comes to this game. Him and 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 there's the aforementioned Galactic Rangers missions. And admittedly, I didn't care for them as much. Like once you played hey, once you played one of them, you kind of played them all. Well, in a lot of ways, it kind of just ramps up like the enemies and the different things you do, like taking out the cannons. Sometimes you have to pilot a hover ship. Yep. Sometimes you have to pilot like the kind of have to pilot the like the gunner ship buggy thing. I forget the exact name of it, like on the ground. So you'll be doing a variety of things. The Q Force and the Galactic Rangers, admittedly, they were good in bursts. They didn't overstay their welcome, which is good. It still mainly kept to Ratchet and Clank, which honestly was definitely a problem with the movie, and not as much with the PS4 game, but especially the movie, which we definitely will get to because we're doing the whole Ratchet and Clank series on the channel. But I think one of the main problems with the movie was that there was too much Galactic Rangers and not enough Ratchet and Clank. This game, I think, has it down pat because there's still plenty of Ratchet and Clank. Um, Horny Gear was also pretty funny as well in her role. Well, like pretty much she's a stereotype of all the like the pop stars and stuff like that, but I think she did her role pretty well, and I think the scene she was in was kind of funny, and like some of the scenes with like the characters around her, such as like Ratchet fawning over her, was kind of funny. In terms of what I didn't quite like as much, or actually going back to the things I liked, the Holovid comic. It's like the Holovids were pretty fun. It was a good way to kind of break up the monotony a little bit of just kind of doing all like the Ratchet and Clank exploration. Um, and the Clank levels are still here. They're not the best, but they're all right. In terms of what I didn't quite like about the game, the end, like there was a lot of difficulty. There was a lot of difficulty spikes within the game. Either that or it just sucked. It's probably one of the two. But there were a lot of times where I would be getting demolished by the opposition, and and the opposition took a lot of hits. Like thankfully, once I got my hands on the bouncer, it made things a lot easier, especially in the final boss battle with Doctor Nefarious. But otherwise it was a little excessive on the difficulty scale at times, and so I didn't so that I didn't really like. uh in terms of like plot and story wise, there were a few kind of things I wish they built up a little more, like the stuff with Clunk kind of replacing Clank didn't really feel like it went anywhere, especially because Clunk didn't really do anything too different from Clank and his interactions with Ratchet. Otherwise, he pretty much just acted like Clank, which I guess kind of the idea to infiltrate. But otherwise, I wish he did some stuff a little bit different. And when it comes to that, I wish they lean, and maybe this will be controversial. I wish they did a little bit more with the Secret Agent Clank stuff. Now, I imagine this was probably because they were holding out for the Secret Agent Clank video game that would come out later on, but which we gotta review that too, especially because they have it on like the PS4 store, so we gotta do it. That size matters, but I imagine that's probably why they didn't do a whole lot of it in this game, but I wish we got a little bit more of that, just for the sake of, hey, introduce it now, kind of do kind of more with it, at least for me. Um, uh, uh, yeah, and no hoverboarding or anything this time around. I imagine it was probably to make way for like the Holovid comic games, especially because especially because there's about five of those, and those levels aren't super duper lengthy, but have a decent amount of length to them. Which also Holovic comics, admittedly, I really didn't care. I kind of mentioned I really didn't care for either. Or if I'm being honest, maybe that's controversial to say. And man, the sound effect when you're collecting all like the bolts and everything, and that got annoying. But yeah, so didn't really care for that aspect as much. Sasha and Ratchet's relationship, I wish they did more with it. I think they kind of touch on it, if I'm not mistaken, they kind of touch on it a tiny bit more in Deadlocked, but I wish we got a little bit more. Ratchet doesn't always, when it comes to like building chemistry, Ratchet doesn't always have the best luck with him and his love interests throughout the games, which does really suck. But otherwise, really fun game. Glad I got to experience it. And yeah, we're gonna keep chugging along with the series. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on those post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you never miss an upload. And let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on Ratchet and Clank 3 Up Your Arsenal and my review of it. Did you like the game? Did you like my review of the game? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.